Let's have a sesh on delegation. So delegation is when managers give authority to subordinate employees, so employees under them, under their span of control, in order for those subordinate employees to perform certain tasks or take specific decisions for the managers. Let's go through the pros of delegation. So the first is that if you are giving the subordinate employees some new authority to take a decision or do a task, well, they may be empowered by this new authority. And if they're empowered by it, this new authority, this new responsibility, is very likely to have those same old chains of analysis. So it's going to lead to higher motivation because they're empowered. And if they're more motivated, they're likely to be more productive. And if they're more productive, then if you're assuming they're being paid the same in terms of their labour bill, then it could mean less inputs to get the same output. So it's going to increase efficiency of the business. And number two, in terms of why delegation is a great thing, well, it's going to likely foster a culture of internal recruitment because managers are saying to their subordinate employees, can you do this? I give you charge to do this specific function. So they're being effectively trained on the job. So it's like an advanced form of on-the-job training. And then you can loop this in to a culture of internal recruitment. So when there needs to be a new manager, well, you don't need to look externally. You don't need to look outside the business, which can cost a lot in recruitment costs. You simply just look at the layer of management below and you look at those subordinate employees that have been delegated to in the past and who have performed when they have been delegated to. So it's great. So you can have internal recruitment out of using delegation as a philosophy within your business. And number three is that managers are able to fully focus on their complex tasks and leave those simpler tasks to the subordinate employees that they have delegated to. So it's a kind of win-win situation. The managers can focus on their complex tasks and the subordinate employees that the managers have delegated to, well, they're getting a chance to be empowered, take on more responsibility and be trained on the job so they can be the managers of the future. And the business wins because it means less recruitment costs because the business does not need to seek new employees externally in the future. However, there are cons to delegation. So number one is that subordinates may be demotivated because now they've got an increased workload because they're being given these new tasks or make these decisions. That could be more work because they've still got their existing work they need to do. So it's going to be more work for their employees. And these employees that have now been delegated work to, well, it might mean that they feel demotivated. They're overloaded with work. And number two, if they're so overloaded, it might mean their productivity falls, their motivation falls, and there's a chance, there's a risk that they may leave the business. And if they leave the business, well, all the gains from internal recruitment are no longer there because you're going to have to find a replacement for this employee. So really it comes down to the evaluation, the important evaluation. And number one is that ultimately the benefits of delegation depend on, number one, the ability of the employee, and number two, the ability of the manager to judge the ability of the employee. And the more accuracy there is, well, that's going to lead to more benefits that we have on the pro side of delegation. But if the manager perceives a certain employee, a subordinate employee, to have some fantastic skill sets, and in reality they don't, well, that's going to be a problem because the employee who's been given and charged with that new authority, well, they may not succeed. They may become overloaded with work and they may realise that they're out of their depth and leave the business, and that manager now will have to spend more time trying to find a replacement for that worker. So it's all about the accuracy of how the manager perceives the ability of the employee, and if the employee is the right employee to do that job, then it will work and will create these benefits. And the other one is that it usually suits in terms of delegation for much larger businesses because there's so many more employees. Delegation often is a problem in smaller businesses where there are less employees because it's just unlikely to be as successful. I hope that helps with delegation, and I'll see you at the next video.